because
Right.
we have this mental idealization of who this person should be. And anything short of that, we want to change them.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
is conditional love.
That-
And that's not the purest form of
That's
love.
not the purest form of love.
Yeah.
So you are still attaching conditions to
Yeah.
to loving the person. So the second group of conditional and unconditional is conditional love looks like being understanding.
Yes.
Being understanding.
Unconditional.
So yeah, unconditional love looks
Yeah.
like being understanding. So
Yeah.
do you want to say a little bit more
Yeah,
about that one?
even we've got a question where the Natalie said, does tolerance compromise get better as you stay longer in love and as you mature in your marriage, or as the years are adding on to marriage? I think this is where now the purest form of love, which is unconditional, is understanding. You now try and be tolerant. That is where tolerance comes in. If you understand the person, you will easily tolerate them. If you understand why they did this, why they didn't do that, why they said that, why they didn't say that, you will be more understanding. And you will be sympathetic. You will be empathetic. You will be warm with them if you understand them. But if you don't, and that is the unconditional love, which is purest, because you are not, you are trying to understand with the outcome of wanting to actually embrace them and be gracious to them and be tolerant and compromise in a loving way, not compromising things that are not going to be helpful. So that is what can help you. That is the purest form of love that you need. To
unconditional love,
unconditional,
you should be able to understand.
I think, and it's kind.
Yes,
it's kind. That love which expresses itself in understanding as unconditional love is kind. It's warm, and it would compromise on some things and say, all right, that's fine. Even though you are saying that you can't do this, it's fine. Maybe I will come in and support you. And one of the things that we said from the beginning, that in the covenant of marriage, we have exchanged the weaknesses for strength. So your weakness is my strength, and we have exchanged. And your strength is my weakness, and we have exchanged. So that is where this purest form of love, which is unconditional, expresses itself in understanding. So that compromise you are making, you are actually just covering up, if it's your husband or your wife, you are covering up their weakness with your strength. And that is where the compromise, you may say it's a compromise, but it's just understanding. And that is one of the way unconditional love expresses itself. The purest form of love which we are talking about, it expresses itself in understanding.
Being able to understand your spouse. I think understanding is very important, and I think it in a relationship where we here is a person that you have found, and you've not known them from the time they were born. You were not there when they were being raised. You have not had their experiences. So, and then they come into your life, and now you are trying to live with them, and try to try to build life with them. So I think that the task that we have there is to try and learn this person, try and understand who this person is. And I think in understanding there is always a posture. Sometimes when we are having a conversation, and this, I think this has happened particularly with me, like we are trying to talk about something, and I have my own way, and I'm entrenched in that. I'm saying, no, this thing should be like this. So, but we are trying to reach a compromise. I'm trying to understand your viewpoint, but in my mind, I have already drawn the boundaries. This is the way it should be. So I'm not open to allowing you to speak and also allowing you to make a contribution. I'm not open to that. And when I am listening to you, I am listening to you to respond. I am not listening to you to try and understand. And that normally would be a problem. If you listen to respond, then you might probably not be able to understand what the person is saying or what the person is communicating.
Very, very true.
Because you've already made up your mind, you know already what you're going to do, so you're just waiting for an opportunity for them to say something completely wrong, and then you jump in and say it completely different.
And that is where now we come to the other one. The purest is understanding. So the other one now is judgment.
Which is conditional love.
Which is conditional love. I think when we start talking about communication, we will dig deeper into the aspect of how do you communicate effectively, like the one that you have talked about.
Yeah.
And we are going to come to, there's a question, we'll come and answer it, but maybe when we run through, we'll try and see if we can answer it towards the end. So the understanding is the purest form of love, which is unconditional. And then the other one is where somebody, before you know the full picture, like we need to be very patient with each other and very kind. Because when we just start, we are trying to learn each other. We are trying to understand and embrace each other's differences. But the conditional love jumps to conclusion very quickly. It doesn't seek to understand.
Yeah.
And you just want to act even before you get the full picture of a person.
Yeah.
And that leads to frustration and leads to a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
Because that person also that you are judging will also put up a front, not to receive the judgment the way it's coming. Because maybe you've just jumped to the conclusion without getting the facts and without having a full picture of who this person is. So that is the other conditional love, which is very judgmental in its way. So it's conditional.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about then the third aspect of it.
And just before we go, I liked what somebody said to say. If I read somewhere, somebody said, if your form of exercise is jumping to conclusions, you are going to trip oftentimes. So if your one of your favorite exercise is jumping to conclusions, you are definitely going to trip. So develop the art of understanding, and you are going to be able to be warm and kind and express the love which is unconditional.
And not jumping to conclusions.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the third
one.
the third and last aspect. So the unconditional love is where you allow for participation.
Yeah.
So that's what unconditional love looks like.
Yeah.
So in a relationship, there is the two of you there, and you have to make all these decisions together. Yeah. And the only way that someone will feel that they are actually loved, before we talk about the issue that you're trying to talk about or the progress you're trying to make, it's first of all love, because our relationship is founded on love.
Yeah.
So the first thing that we need to work on, are we still in love?
Yeah.
Before we can move forward with our dreams, or before we can try and pursue our goals, or before we can resolve this problem that we have. Are we in love? So if we can agree that yes, we are in love, then it will be easier to build on that, or it will be easier to handle the difficulties or the challenges that we have. So unconditional love
expresses
itself through participation.
Yes.
So if I can allow you to participate in
decision making,
our conversations, in decision making, and if you can also do the same, because we're talking about unconditional love, which is not dependent on me. When you are loving me, it's dependent on you. You have chosen to love me, so I don't have to work for it. You just love me. So the way I will receive that, the way I will feel that you really care for me, you love me, is when we have something and I am allowed to participate, take part in a conversation.
Yeah.
So do you want to say a little bit more on that one as well?
No, I think participation allows the person not to be self-centered. You are trying to work together for the common good, the best interest of both people that are together in love. And that is the way unconditional love expresses itself. It's not self-centered, and when we look at the opposite of it, then we will understand even better. It's seeking the best interest for both parties involved. So that's why we allow someone to freely participate and embrace their opinion and their choice, as long as it's in line with what you have envisioned as a couple. Because at some point we'll talk about a vision and why it's important to have a vision in a marriage. So I shouldn't, as a wife, well, I'm not a wife, I'm a husband.
As a wife, but I'm just giving it as an example. So for you as a wife and for me as a husband, you should not be afraid to express yourself.
No.
When we are trying to have a conversation.
Yes.
You should not feel that maybe I'm going to scream or I'm going to speak to you a certain way if you put your point across. So similarly, also the husband should also be very free to participate and make a contribution and say, this is the way I feel we need to go. And there should be that that environment where you both have a stake in each other's lives and in your lives and in your marriage.
Yeah, that's right.
And you all participate.
That's
then
right.
there is unconditional love.
That's right. Yes.
Existing in that relationship. But where one person is not free to express themselves, and then there is an issue which now would be conditional love. Which will
be conditional love, and it manifests itself in manipulation.
Okay.
Yes, because now, the conditional love opposite from the participation becomes manipulation, where one person really is interested in themselves and what they can get, and so they are not allowing the other person to freely participate, to freely get involved in decision making, to freely be the person that they should be, and it manifests itself in the essence of probably one of the pointers is when someone is trying to take full control of yourself. I think that's manipulation. The way manipulation is, the essence of it all is to take control of the other person so that they don't freely participate, and that is conditional love. It's conditional love.
So you claim you love the person, but you are not allowing them the freedom to participate in a relationship.
No.
So what you are seeking to do is to control them in a relationship. So control is not love at all. It's not. So when you begin to control someone, then you don't love them. Or if you claim to love them, then your love for them is conditional. It's on condition. It's on condition that they
act in a certain way,
or they go by your opinion, even though they may have a different opinion to yourself. But you manipulate them. You do certain things to make them, succumb to whatever you want them to.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. So it's things like, like crying. Okay, I know, of course, in a relationship, someone may cry. Not necessarily that they're trying to manipulate, because maybe it's
crying
it's
unnecessarily.
But there is a certain kind of crying which is trying to send a message.
Even this is in children as well, we see it. But maybe let's talk about the adult. They cry, and then there is also withholding, especially those of us that are married. Sometimes we use manipulation. We start withholding sex, love making from our husbands, so that we can manipulate them in a certain way. I think at some point I've done that. Forgive me, Lord. So and then we also withhold even the love. And I think
there's also silent treatment.
Silent treatment. I think I raise my hand up.
I think I have done that also.
I don't know. Has someone done the silent treatment?
I think I used to do it earlier on in our marriage. I think as we moved on, I think I grew out of it, because I realized that actually I was not really getting anywhere.
Yes, it's true. Actually, it's true. Silent treatment will not get you anywhere. Even now, especially lockdown, please make sure you just talk, keep talking. Don't give each other silent treatment. Because it doesn't get you anywhere. And for some reason, I thought men don't give a silent treatment. I was so surprised when you could see Adrian, but probably maybe he was going in the cave, or he was going in the nothing box. But anyway, he must have purposely said, I'm gonna just keep quiet and make her annoyed for that. So that is one form of manipulation, and it's not the purest form of love which we should express for each other as husband and wife. So let's make sure that we don't withhold those things. Up there, let's not withhold that good thing, that we should enjoy.
So we're saying, so this conditional love brings a lot of resentment. When we begin to be manipulative, it brings a lot of resentment,
low self-esteem,
a lot of hate, a lot of frustration in the marriage, and it could be in certain, in a certain, to some extent, it could be, responsible for like emotional abuse,
psychological, and everything.
Psychological abuse in a relationship. So the absence of unconditional love. So that's what we wanted to share with you. That did you want to say something?
There's a question here which is saying that but again, if your partner has some habits that you don't like, can't you ask him change? How can it be done? How can it be approached? I think for this one, and this is where we were going to zero in, we need to give each other a chance. We need to be kind. We need to be patient. And that's why when we started talking about love, we said the pillars that are going to hold our love together and to make our relationships very healthy is kindness and patience.
And the foundation of that is unconditional love.
Yes, and the foundation of it is unconditional love. Thank you for that. So when we are kind and patient, we are not just kind and patient to each other. We are also kind to marriage. We need to give marriage some time to grow. So some of those habits are actually learned at home. And this is why we want to speak to parents. We are speaking to ourselves as well. And we have spoken to ourselves that let's raise up our children in this purest form of love. Let's try as much as possible to raise them up in the purest form of love, because marriage actually starts in a home. So those habits that they are talking about were learned at home. Maybe that's the way they expressed their love. They manipulated. For someone to get something, they cried, or for someone to do something, they had these habits that they have developed, and then coming into adults, they have come with them in the adult relationships, which also includes marriage. So let's just be patient, and communication is very key to raising up any issues that we are going to face as husband and wife. And the habits, maybe that might be annoying. Maybe it also involves the culture. Probably for somebody, that's maybe the way they know. They may not understand that what they are doing is wrong. So there should be constant communication between husband and wife. And I'm going to read something that I picked again, which said, married couples who love each other tell each other 1,000 things without talking. So even in the same way, married couples who love each other, we do certain things which are not good without talking. But let's just be mindful of each other, that what is the language that we are speaking here? Is it being received as love, or it's being received as annoyance or a habit that is not acceptable? But as you interact as husband and wife, as you talk, as you communicate, and as you talk about your cultures, you will come to the understanding that actually the habit which I thought was just being done intentionally was not even what it was. So let's be intentional in being kind to each other. Let's be intentional in being patient with each other, and let us give love chance to grow. The habits seem to start going and start moving away.
I think I can on the same question as well. I think I can try and relate that or compare that to the way God looks at us. So and the way we normally encourage each other. When we say, when we're referring to someone maybe that is missed the mark, or someone who is in sin, we would say we love the person, but we hate the sin.
That's right.
So we have drawn the line there. So we are not mixing the sin and the person together and hating the mixture of the person and the sin.
Right. Yes,
so what we've done is we have drawn a line, and we're saying we love you, and we express it in so many different ways. But we hate the sin. And then now we find a way of trying to deal with that. So I think that's the way I can answer that one as well. Just to help those that maybe may have a spouse who has a certain habit that they don't like. So you don't have to you
separate the two.
You don't have to stay with it, or if it's something that's annoying to you, you don't have to accept it. But accept the person.
Good.
Accept the person, love the person, understand the person, but then communicate in love. Again. In love, gently, patiently, kindly. You communicate and say, sweetheart, I think this one, I really, this is what it does to me. It's really annoying. I mean, there's a certain habit. There's something that I like doing. I don't know, I can't do that now, but there's a habit I normally do. Like sometimes, and knowing it, I'll just pick my nose, and then she doesn't. I mean, we've been married for 21 years. She doesn't like it.
No one does.
I never got it until until she made it very clear. Says no, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Says, yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
So I have to now consciously every time think about it and say, so she didn't have to live with me with a terrible habit
Yeah.
that she didn't like.
Yeah.
So, but there was a way that she communicated.
Yeah. So
but if she came to me and, you know, so angry and so militant and, you know, with a lot of passion and say, no, you must change, you need to change.
Yes.
Then I would resist that.
Yeah.
And then that would be a source of conflict.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's how you know, how you talk about those things that you don't like with your spouse.
Yeah.
It has to be gentle, it has to be in a loving way, you know, you put your arm around them.
No, sometimes you don't have to know.
No, it's not manipulation.
No.
It's just expressing love.
No, you know, no.
Yeah,
sometimes it's heated. Sometimes it's heated. But we're gonna go back to the understanding that we talked about.
Yeah.
We said in understanding why this habit, it's, you need to understand. And understanding, we said, it's sympathetic, it's tolerant a bit, and it's kind and it's warm. So let's just be a bit more kind to each other.
Yes,
let's be
yes.
patient with each other. We are meant for each other, and we can do well, and we can we'll manage. We'll manage to pull through. They are just habits that can go.
They are just
like with children.
Yeah.
They have certain habits. As they grow older, they drop them. So they'll soon be dropping one by one, and you'll be like, oh, that is good.
No, that's so true. I think what you've said is so true. I've just remembered we've raised our kids.
Yeah.
They're all teenagers. Well, one of them graduated yesterday, no longer a teenager now.
Yeah.
He's an adult.
Yeah.
But we've seen them move from one stage to the other.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying, some of the habits at a certain stage in their lives, I was thinking, really?
Yeah.
Is this the way, you know, and
is this the way it's gonna go?
Is this the way, you know, you want sometimes just to kick them out and just close the door and
or
kick
take them
out
somewhere else.
Yes. But then, you know, just after a short while, and everything just transforms.
Yeah.
You know,
So
they are
it's just
completely
patient.
changed,
Yeah.
and then you are thinking, what really happened?
Yeah.
So it's those small little things, those small communications that
Yeah.
we are making. Say, oh no, we don't like this, sweetheart. Why don't you do it this way? It was landing. It wasn't settling.
Yeah.
But then eventually it makes sense.
Yeah,
and then
they also grow.
They also grow.
So they mature and they understand.
Yeah. So even in a relationship, I think it happens in the same way.
It does.
Those bad habits that just, as we talk about them, they just begin to die out.
Yeah.
And both of us have to have a responsibility to listen. Like we said, we should be able to listen to one another
and be gracious, because there are some habits that the same your husband or your spouse that don't like about you. That's why we still have to be gracious and work together in eliminating those habits, because we all have a share in it.
Yes.
No one of us is perfect. So the fact that we are not perfect, that's why we should be gracious with each other. We lean so much on the love which is unconditional, accepting. The love which is unconditional, which understands. The love which is unconditional, which allows participation. Not the conditional love which allows manipulation. The conditional love which allows the judgmental, being judgmental, and the other one which rejects by being so much wanting the other person to be the way that you want them to be, not embracing their individuality. So thank you so much for watching. We are not sure if there is any more question.
Yeah. What about the earlier question? Did we deal with that one?
Yes, I think we did. I think I did explain when I said tolerance is in understanding. So thank you so much. When we started, we are just winding down, because marriage starts in a home. And so we are still speaking to the parents to say, let's do whatever we can to raise up children with unconditional love, because that's where they learn marriage. That's where they learn some of the habits that they come with in the relationship when they are adults. That includes marriage. So it's very important that when we are raising up these children, we raise them up on the basis of unconditional love. So the question we posed was, how did your parents express affection towards you as an individual, and then towards each other as your mom and dad?
Yeah.
And how has that impacted your expression of affection in your relationship? So that's a question we haven't got time to hear. We posed it a long time, but we won't go further. I think
feel free. I'm sure after this, the video will still be there. So feel free to just leave a comment.
Yeah, that's right.
If you need to share anything with us, just feel free and share that with us. But I think one of the things that I would just love to, live with everyone is that when you're in a marriage where there is unconditional love, a lot really flourishes in there.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
we really express ourselves.
Yeah.
Our uniqueness comes
yeah,
out.
that's right. Yes.
And
yeah.
God has created every one of us, is perfect according to
Yes, and is adequate
to the way that we
yeah.
have been created. So we are all unique, we are all different.
Yeah.
But in our differences, we are complete.
That's right.
So when there is unconditional love, then the best in each one of us, because God has deposited something special in each one of us.
That's right.
That comes out. But when the love is conditional, then you are making people begin to jump through the hoops
and
to
act,
try and impress you and
yeah.
act, and there's a lot of manipulation, there's a lot of lying, there's a lot of all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So when there are things like lying in a relationship, hiding things and all that, then you have to sit back and think, what environment have we created? Is this an environment that is unconditional?
Yeah.
Or is this an environment that's so much that has a lot of conditions? You have to do A for me to do B.
Yeah.
If you do C, then I'm not going to talk to you. So so I think that's all I would love to live with you. So thank you so much for coming on board, for taking time to be with us. We really appreciate your time, and we love having you around.
So there's someone who has said, just before we go, there's someone who has said the children and everyone else probably, they see what we do. I'm sure they're talking about children, our brother Davis Moin. And just before you came, we said married couples who love each other tell each other 1,000 things without talking. So yes, we understand that the loudest way to talk is in actions. So parents, let's be mindful. They are watching us. They are picturing whatever we are doing, and that's what they are forming to be what it is.
So quickly, someone also said expression. This is how the love was expressed in the home. So expression was done more in action than words.
Okay.
Like putting food on the table.
I like
that one. That's really good. Yeah. So that's how it was done. I mean, for some people, it was just like
chaos. We'll
just
talk
like
about
that.
it probably.
But
a bit more.
But when we bring those things into our marriages, the way we were taught, the way we were raised up, when we bring them into our marriage, there must be room for us to change and to,
I think it's just maybe because of time, we can come and pick up and maybe just talk about these and how they affect and how we can come together to understand.
Okay.
Yeah. So for now, we want to thank you. We thank God for your lives, and we are praying that we will continue being kind to each other and patient. We have talked about kindness and patience.
Yes.
Not the patience where you are waiting for your wife to calm down, and then when they come, you're so annoyed, you just open the door and you start walking with them without talking. No, that's not patience. The patience we are talking about, you were just waiting, you were not patient.
Yeah.
Let's be patient when they are late. You even smile and say, oh, you look so beautiful, my sweetheart, my honey. That's the patience we are talking about. Let's be patient with each other, especially in lockdown. Let's not remain isolated. Let's keep each other together. Let's speak to each other with other couples. Let's interact in whichever form that we can, but let's not be isolated. May God bless you. May the Lord keep you.
And just quickly, if you are married, I'm not sure whether I should say this. Maybe it might land me into problems. But obviously, there is no social distancing.
No. No, there is no social distancing. That's a good one. No, there isn't. No, there isn't.
Okay, no, that's good.
Yeah, there isn't no social distancing. Please, nothing. No masks somewhere. Keep it open. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much for coming. We love you. So it's ADRIAN and Mwango signing off. Thank you so much for coming. We love you.
God bless you.
Thank you.